Superficial energy circulation. An exterior meridian flows between the skin and muscle, and it has points of its own, flows on the ventral, medial, or the lateral dorsal sides of the arms and legs. These are the yin-yang surfaces of the limbs. In the evolutionary process, humans first stood on all fours before standing erect. The parts of the body and limbs that were in contact with the sun, wind, and rain were called the protecting surfaces, called the yang surfaces. The part of body and limbs that was not exposed is said to be the protected surface or the yin surface. Even as we stand erect now, these areas are still considered to be our yin and yang surfaces. The body hair distribution and the temperature in these two areas is different from each other. Imagine we have two adjoining rooms. One is a cold room where meat is refrigerated. The other is an oven where bread is baked. Now imagine there is a water pipe that runs through the walls of both rooms, with water flowing from one room to the other. The water, when flowing through the cold room, would be cold, but the same water would heat up when flowing through the heated room. The only difference being that the outside temperature will have changed. Energy changes polarity from yang to yin in the exterior meridians. If it flows from a yin meridian to a yang meridian, or vice versa. So take note of that. There is always a change in polarity when there is a transfer of energy flow from yin to yang meridian or from yang meridian to yin. The environment is more important than the energy in the superficial energy circulation. We will now work with one superficial energy circulation of the body. So we have the coupled meridians, the exterior relationship. Example, lung yin deficiency and yang excess. Symptoms, thin and dry skin with redness and inflammation. Because of their interior relationship, coupled organs have the same picture of imbalance. So we could say that in 95% of the time, the large intestine will have the same imbalance. In the exterior, yin and yang meridians flow in the ventral, medial, and dorsal lateral sides of the limbs. The climate in these two surfaces is very different, like cool and hot rooms. When energy flows from one to the other, as we mentioned earlier, it changes polarity. So let's define some points. A yuan source point is the point where the energy flows out of a meridian into the coupled meridian. So example is the lung energy, the lung channel. If there is a point in the lung channel, this is called the yuan source point. If it will flow out of the lung channel into its coupled channel, which is called the large intestine channel. A luo connecting point is the point where energy flows into in the coupled meridian. So this is the point where energy flows into in the coupled meridian, and it is always the point of entry. So the luo connecting point is always the point of entry. So yuan point 4 to luo point 7, because we consider the luo point as the entry point, while the yuan source point is the point where the energy flows out of a meridian, going into the coupled meridian. Okay, so then for the lung meridian, we have the yuan point lung 9 which will flow out into the luo point in large intestine 6. Okay, so again, Li4, yuan point of the large intestine. This will flow out into the lung meridian, specifically the entry point, which is the luo connecting point. So in this case, it's lung 7. Now, the yuan source point of the lung meridian, which is lung 9, this will flow out into its coupled channel or meridian, which is called the large intestine, via the luo connecting point, lung 6, large intestine 6, sorry. In order to balance this, we need to use the collateral on the left to send energy from the large intestine to the lung. So sedate Li4, which is the yuan source point. So this will sedate the large intestine yang directly, and it will sedate the lung yang indirectly. Tonify lung 7, luo connecting point. This tonifies the lung yin directly and the large intestine indirectly. Energy will flow from the large intestine, which is decreasing large intestine yang, into the lung, which is now an increasing lung yin. Okay, so yuan source points have connections with other meridians. This must not be confused with their relationship with the coupled meridian. Okay, so lung yin is decreased. That means the yin meridian has 2 less yin. Large intestine yang is increased. The yang meridian has excess yang. So when the large intestine yang decreases, the lung yang would flow through the interior energy flow into the large intestine, thus reducing the lung yang as well. Now that lung yin is increased, it would flow, because it's increased, it will have to flow into the deficient yin of the large intestine to increase the Li yin as well. So the new balanced state is now shown in the tower diagram. So we have the lung plus Li in balance.